Hey everyone, welcome back to the Racer on Demand show. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my co host, Megan. Hi, Megan.
Hello, hello.
And we are back for another episode. We're on episode 6, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
But we just got off of, a Christmas break and we are back in the studio following some holidays and some travel. So, Megan, how was Christmas?
It was good. We didn't do a whole lot this year. We did go out of town for Thanksgiving because my dad is from Indiana. So most of his family still lives up there. So we got to see them on Thanksgiving, which we do that like every other year now. And then this year we just stayed home. And so did Adam's family stuff on Christmas Eve. And then my parents came over for Christmas Day. And then we just kind of hung out, didn't do anything. We had really good weather here. So I don't know if it got like warm for you guys up there. But yeah, it was so nice just to be able to go hang out outside. And then let's see, that was Thursday, right? So Friday, we went to the farm, got some work done there. And then Saturday, we went and rode side by sides with our friends. And then my sister came up, which she lives about 3, 4 hours away. So we don't see her that often, but her family came up and we did kids stuff Saturday night. And then we were all just like, super lazy on Sunday, like, just chilled and didn't do anything, and then that's when it got cold and super windy. So, we kinda planned to clean out the garage that day, and then we're just like,
Nope.
"Maybe this weekend."
Yes. Oh my goodness. Ours was not that fun. Maybe specifically mine was not that fun.
Yeah?
So we got back from PRI and we had 4 days before we left for Iowa. My grandparents are out there, so we drove out to
Okay.
Iowa, spent a couple days out there celebrating Christmas with my grandma and my stepmom. And, we came back. We were home one day, and then I was just sick as a dog on my
Mm,
butt. That was Tuesday, and so we had plans with my husband's grandparents and, like, that whole side of his family on Wednesday, and I was like, "I'm just gonna truck through it." And I had a stomach flu, so it was not just like like I've got a sniffle, I was not
yeah,
good.
that's the worst.
Yeah, so I went over there and I was like, "I think I'm feeling okay for, like, Wednesday lunch," and I ate lunch and I was like, "I am not okay." So, ended up going home. I was on the couch, like, all night Wednesday, and then Thursday, we were supposed to be over at Chris's parents', like, bright and early to watch our nieces and nephews open all their presents and stuff, and I struggled through that, and come Friday, I was feeling decent. We went over to Chris's uncle's house, and they have a pool in their basement, so the kids got to swim, and we just kinda hung out and stuff, and
Oh,
I
nice.
was like, "Finally, I'm feeling really good." I had a drink finally, which was really weird going through the holidays without even, like, being able to have a drink with everybody. So I get home, and then Saturday, I'm like, "Man, I'm starting to feel a little cruddy again," and I immediately went down with, like, a terrible head cold, so I've
Mm,
been the whole last week, I've just been on my butt. I'm finally
yeah.
starting to feel better.
Man, yeah, that's the worst. Well, and I feel like
Yes.
everybody always gets sick right after PRI. Like, you get the
Yes.
like, the SEMA flu, and then you get the PRI flu, and then, yeah, you're around all these people for the holidays.
Mhm.
This year, I think, was the first year that me and my dad did not get sick. I know last year we were pretty sick after the show. But yeah, thankfully not this year, so I don't know what I did, but yeah.
I think we made it through PRI just fine because everybody that was at Christmas in Iowa also got the same thing I did at the same time.
Mm,
So the kids there brought it from daycare. And then I think just because I was already like immuno depleted from being that
yeah,
sick, when I saw my nieces and nephews on Christmas Eve, one of them was getting over a cold, and I'm pretty sure I snatched that from her too. So,
those darn kids.
I know little germ factories, but I love.
Yeah. Yeah, so Henry doesn't go to daycare anymore, so we've been doing a homeschool group, and there's only 3 kids, including him, and he is the oldest out of these 3. So it has been nice because he has not been around, like, all those sick kids. Because yeah, like, the first let's see, he was I think it's 6 weeks old when they can start going to daycare, and maybe 12 weeks. Yeah, I think it might be 12 weeks old. Yeah, so I had put him in daycare as soon as I could so I could go back to work, and this was when I was working at the office of my parents' towing business.
Yeah.
I was just so bored and, like, I did not like being at home, so I was like, done with maternity leave, I'm ready to go back to work, and so put Henry in daycare as soon as I could, and then, yeah, he got really sick, quite a few times, but I feel like, everyone says, like, "Oh, it's good because it builds up their immune
Yeah.
system and all this stuff."
Yeah.
It's nice to not have a sick kid and and to get
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, and I see the little kitty head popping up.
Yes. So, we've officially come up with a name, so I'll hold her up. So, this is Princess Tiki.
Kiki.
So, as you can see, she only has 3 legs. She's been doing great, like, I don't think I mean, if she knows, she's like, I don't know how to verbally communicate with her to know if she
Yeah,
whatever she's
she's
feeling.
not, like, whispering it in your ear.
Yeah, she's like, "What? Like, where'd my leg go?" But, so I guess, like, for the listeners and viewers, like, if they don't know, so we had got these cats, in let's see, it was October time, and so we got 4 kitties from the same litter, 2 boys and 2 girls, and, just got them to be barn cats, and that was the whole plan, and I love cats, and so, like, as soon as we got this farm, I was like, "I wanna get a bunch of cats," because my husband's not a fan of having indoor cats, and my dad is a cat lover. We grew up always having cats because they're easy to take care of, like, you can leave home, and all you gotta do is just leave them a litter box and some food and water, and they're good.
Yep.
And so we always had cats growing up, and, my mom's also a cat lover, so when we got this land, my dream is to get a barn full of cats, and so, we had a friend of a friend that had a litter, they wanted to keep some, didn't want all of them though, so we got 4 of them, and they are the sweetest, nicest cats I've ever had, but they stay at the barn, and the barn is about 45 minutes away from our house, so I don't see them every day. I try to go there, like, 2 or 3 times during the week, and then we're usually there all weekends, and so the week of Thanksgiving, um, I had checked on them the weekend before, so Sunday, I was there, and then I didn't go back until Wednesday, which was the day we were leaving to go to Indiana for Thanksgiving. On Sunday, they were perfectly fine, but when I go there on Wednesday, I noticed she was hopping and she had her back leg, like, up, so she couldn't put any weight on it or anything, and she wasn't, like, whining or, like, acted like she was in pain, like, she was still running around playing with the other kitties, like, no big deal, but obviously she couldn't put any weight on that leg.
Yeah.
Then I started freaking out. I was like, "What am I gonna do?" Because we're supposed to go out of town, like, not like, am I gonna take this cat with me? Like, what are we gonna do? And I didn't wanna
Yeah.
just leave her there. So, I ran her up to the, like, emergency care pets, hospital, which was about an hour and a half away,
My god.
and they did an X-ray, which that was, like, a few $100 just for the X-ray,
Yep.
and it had been, like, clearly broken off, like, right at the top of her femur, and have no idea how it happened. I don't know if she, like, because we have a big loft, so I don't know if maybe she fell off the loft. Nothing was, like, knocked over, so because I had thought maybe something fell on top of her, but I didn't see
Yeah.
anything out of place. So, still have no idea what had happened. The vet was like, "Well, we could do surgery to try to fix it." That was gonna be $7,000, and they were like, "She's gonna have arthritis, like, there could be all these complications," and they're like, "Your best bet is to get it amputated," and they're like, "We could do it, but it's still gonna be a few thousand dollars." They're like, "Your best bet is just to go find your local vet and have them do it." So, we planned on that, scheduled it, but we couldn't do it until Monday, so we bought a dog kennel so that way we could keep her in a cage, and my parents had taken up their motorhome, and they had taken Henry with them, so it's just me and Adam going up separately. So yeah, so we just had her in her kennel inside the motorhome there for Thanksgiving, and then took her to the vet, and totally fine, and then had to keep her inside the kennel after that, and then she had the cone on and everything. Yeah, she's recovered great, but she is officially an indoor cat. She is not going back to the barn. I don't want anything else to happen to her. So when I was out of town for PRI, Adam still had to, like, give her daily medicine. She had to keep wearing the cone, which somehow he lost, and he's like, "The cone came off, I don't know where it is." It's like, "Okay, like, it's been on for a week and a half, never came off, like, what did you do?"
You're like, "I left you alone for 1 week."
Yeah, so they named her Tiki while I was gone. And then I when I took him to the vet last week, she would not share, like, the carrier with him, like, she wanted to be separated from them, and it's only had been about a month since that she's been away from them, so I thought it would
Yeah.
be she never left, and they're all very friendly to her, but she was kind of in defense mode.
Yeah.
And so she would not share the carrier with him, and then when we were at the vet, I had all of them out in the room, and she would get very jealous if I was giving any of the other ones attention, and so she'd always try to get in my lap, so that's where we called her Princess because she was kinda acting like a little diva at the vet. But yeah, Princess Tiki, so she's doing great, so we have 2 indoor cats now, my other one was Oliver, who's 5, that my parents had found in their yard, someone had dropped him off,
Yeah.
and so I gotta keep them. And so, yeah, we got Oliver and Princess Tiki here.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so just hearing you talk about how now you have 2 indoor cats, even though Adam wants 0 indoor cats, reminds me of
Right?
when, we decided to get chickens. I wanted 3 chickens and Chris wanted no chickens, so we compromised and got 5 chickens.
Oh my god.
That's just what that's
That makes
reminding me
sense.
of. You wanted 1 indoor cat and Adam wanted 0 indoor cats, so you compromised and got 2 indoor cats, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
Well, should we talk about a dirty word today, Megan?
Yes. Yeah, we've got the dirty word to stop using.
Right? I can't believe racers are still dropping this dirty, dirty word all the time.
Mhm. Yes, and it's one that we hear from the directors and marketing managers that they don't want, and they don't need it, but
No?
racers keep pitching it to them.
Yes, yes. And our last guest, Dave, when he was on, he kind of briefly alluded to the fact that there's really no value in this word unless it's coupled with other stuff. And unless you're pitching that other stuff, you might as well not be pitching at all.
Yeah. Do you wanna tell them what the dirty word is?
Yes. So, how many times have you talked to a company and they ask what you're offering and you say, "Well, I'm going to give you some exposure."
Yeah. Well, I am very guilty of using it, and I like to kinda use the word awareness now. I feel like that is better than just saying exposure, because I feel like exposure is just the advertisement. Just, "Hey, I'm gonna slap your logo on my car, and it's gonna be worth hundreds and thousands of dollars." And
Yes.
yeah, and companies are coming down on it, and they're like, "We don't really see the value of that." I
Yes.
think, like, TV time is really, like, the biggest value driver of that, but I don't know, I mean, I feel like TV time is really losing its value at the same time,
Yeah.
because with the streaming platforms or even just, like, like, we'll just only post the highlight reels on social media, and that's all people need. They don't need to watch the 3-hour race, they just wanna see how you finished. So, I think there's less viewers on broadcasts, but that's also just my personal take on that.
Yeah, even, if there are more viewers or less viewers, like, does it really matter if they're not buying the product because of it? I think the way that consumers are, I don't know, like, taking in brand mentions is so different now than it used to be. It used to be like, I love this racer and they have this sticker on the car, so I'm going to support that brand because they support that racer. But it's not necessarily how things work anymore. Like, people put more consideration into purchasing a product or especially into being loyal to a product. I think
Mhm.
about, like, as we're talking about, like, brand awareness and logos on cars, and when you said TV time, for some reason, my brain jumped to, like, product placement in movies, and I'm just thinking about,
Mm.
like, if you see somebody, like, clearly drinking, like, a can of Pepsi in a movie and it's
Yeah.
logo out and you know that Pepsi paid to be there, like, does that make you want a Pepsi?
No, yeah. It's and sometimes it's like it's very obvious too when they do product placement too.
Yes, yeah, and what's the difference between that and, like, driving past a billboard? And, like, you could put so many eyes on a logo, but that doesn't necessarily translate to a profit for that company.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's all about understanding the customer journey of, like, it's gonna take more than one exposure for someone to actually buy a product, and I think
Mhm.
especially now, like, ads are just being pushed on us all the time, like, everywhere you go, like, there's someone trying to sell something to you, and so I think buyers are maybe a little bit more hesitant to just impulse buy, and
Mhm.
I think where racers need to be the brand ambassadors and share, like, the results of how this product had helped you, whether, on the track or maybe in your life,
Yeah.
and communicating it that way versus just, "Hey, check out the sponsor I got." And it's
Yes.
like, "Okay, why? Like, why should we check him out? Like, what's the benefit it's gonna give to me?" Because I think we're just so bombarded with that, and there's so many ads out, and also, I've noticed a lot of the ads that I see are just created by AI. Like, it's
Yeah.
not even, like, human anymore, and so I'm even more hesitant to buy a product if I know that, like, if it's pretty obvious that, like, it's just an AI ad, which I get, like, it's easier to create, it's cost efficient, and I know, I do Facebook ads all the time for motorsports marketing tips, and Facebook makes it so easy to, like, I'll upload one picture, and then it'll give me 20 different versions of that one picture of how it could make it better with AI.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, it's not authentic. I'm not a fan of AI. Like, there's some stuff I like to use it tools to be more efficient at some things, but I don't think having it replace you as far as trying to promote a sponsor or promote products is the
Yes.
correct way to use it.
Okay, so my I'm just gonna put this in quotes, my day job, right? I train corporations on how to use
Yeah.
AI. So I am like super pro AI, but
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree that people are using it to try and like take the work away instead of make the work easier
Yeah.
or make the output better. And
Mhm.
so when I was working at US Venture in Appleton here in Wisconsin, one of the finance leaders that I worked with, he said something that I absolutely loved. And we were talking about like AI replacing jobs, which in this context, we're kind of talking about AI replacing content creation, right? And he said, AI is kind of like glasses. Glasses don't replace your eyes, they augment your
Mm.
vision,
Yeah.
right? And AI shouldn't replace your work, it should augment your work to make it easier or a better output. And so, like, personally, I use AI on just about every single thing that I post, but you should see the prompts that I put in. The prompts are oftentimes longer than the post that I'm going to be posting because I put so much context in. And then I just use AI to say, like, can you create an engaging, emotionally connective narrative that would perform well on LinkedIn? And then it'll take my story and it'll add a hook and it will make it a narrative instead of just a list of facts. And it'll create this better
Yeah.
output, but it's still authentically me. It's my story, it's my vision, and it's meeting my goals. It's not
Mhm.
just like some meaningless output that
Yeah.
doesn't relate to anybody, you know?
Oh my gosh, it's so obvious when someone, like, just copy and paste a caption or an email from that's
Mhm.
was written by AI or, like, chat, and it's just like and there will even be, like, the quotes, because 'cause it'll put, like, the quotes before and after, or I've seen someone like, there was a meme going around of, like, a newspaper article, and at the bottom, it had, like, the Chat GPT prompt of, like, if you like this, I can do it in this version or whatever. And like that was included in the newspaper article. It's like people are not proofreading what they're
Oh
putting out
god.
there. And sometimes it's so obvious. And like I feel like you lose credibility when you do that just because like you're being a little lazy and, like, just take 30 more seconds to read through it. And, like, I use ChatGPT to write captions or, like, give me ideas for captions, like, I'll
Mhm.
have it help write emails, but I don't just straight up copy and paste, but I'll still make sure it actually sounds like me, and
Yeah.
I'll change the formatting too, because, like, if the font or, like, the color is a little bit off in email, you can tell, like, "Oh, this was
Yeah.
just copy and pasted." Or, like, they use the hyphenation, like, the dashes.
The M dash, yes.
Yeah, I'll take out all the M dashes and put, like, a semicolon or comma or something there instead, because then,
Yes.
like, like, "Oh, chat wrote that one."
Okay, so I have a true confession, and what's really funny is that this email went out to our next guest, so thankfully she
Okay.
still likes me, but I I was using ChatGPT to just, like, help me think of a way to, like, politely say something, right? Because
Mhm.
full disclosure, I am on the spectrum, and sometimes I come across, especially in written word, I come across, like, kind of just factual and to the point and not friendly. And so I use ChatGPT a lot just to get kind of some of those social cues into my written word. And so I was putting an email into ChatGPT and I copied it back over to my email window. And I like went through and I made it sound like me and I edited it and like, okay, I don't like this piece. I'm going to change that. I hit send. I look and somehow I went through and I edited the whole email and I somehow missed the top piece where it said like, "Oh, you're right. Let's try the email this way."
Oh,
And I was like,
yeah,
"No." Like, what do you do at that point, right?
yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my god, I look like such an idiot right now."
But she responded back,
Yes, very
so
nicely
okay,
and yeah, we're good, but
we're good.
thank
Okay.
God it was somebody that I had been talking to more than once, like we had met in real life and whatnot.
Yeah, cause yeah, I feel like if it was maybe someone we didn't know, they would just, like, not take it seriously at all and just be like, no, not interested."
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I was so embarrassed. I'm still embarrassed thinking about it. I'm putting this out into the universe as maybe just an explanation to her. Like, I
Yeah,
promise. I really did put thought into that email.
yeah, we'll have to make sure that she listens to this episode before we record that one.
Yes. Oh man. Anyways, we got so far off track of
Yeah.
talking about exposure being not the only source of value, but okay, the one thing that I do want to say about exposure, I brought this topic up to Chris yesterday.
Okay.
And he's like, "But, like, exposure and brand awareness is valuable." I was like, "Yeah, it is, but not by itself," right? Like, if you just saw a logo for something that you've never heard of, what does that really do?
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think that that really brings up, like, what are the things that you sell alongside exposure and brand awareness to bring value to that?
Mhm. Yeah, what that's where, like, activations, like, at the track can really come into play. So, like, with NGK, whenever they used to come to the drag races, which was before COVID happened, they would bring a trailer and they would do contests and games, and they'd have all these, like, awesome prizes they would give out, not just, like, your basic, like, keychains and pins, like, they would actually put some thought into what they're giving away because they want the lead generation,
Mhm.
and so, I know that's what a lot of companies that activate at the track, they just want the customers to come in, they just want their contact information, and so that's where, like, having a contest is really easy to do, "Hey, give me your name and email address, and then you can play our game." And
Yes.
so, a company like NGK spark plugs, like, 80% of drag racers use NGK spark plugs, like, everybody has heard of it, it's been around for a very long time, so it's not like they need the exposure or the awareness because everybody has heard of them
Yeah.
at one point or another, whether they use their spark plugs or not, they've are familiar with the brand. And so for us, when we were working with them, it was like, okay, how can we drive traffic to their vendor activation? And it wasn't so much of let's try to get, NGK exposure on TV and on social media and all this stuff because yeah, that didn't equate to a value for them because if
Yeah.
they had the budget to sponsor us, then they have the budget to go and get their own ads and commercials. So it's like, okay, how could we help them in a different way? And what are their goals? And so
Mhm.
that has then since turned into their Shop Squad program, which is a educational platform that's free for automotive students. And so instead of us just trying to get lead generation at the track, now it's a lot more specific of they want students that are in automotive and they want them to go through their education platform so that way when they are techs and shop owners and service writers and all that stuff, they want them to remember NGK
Yeah,
and work with, try to be a customer that way. So it depends on the company's goals. It depends on their budget. Like if they are a like new startup company, then they do need the exposure because no one has heard of them. But they're
mhm.
also the ones that don't have the funding to be able to actually sponsor racers and motorsports and, really get their name out there
Yeah,
and in a a big way. So they are kind of leaning more towards I'll just give you an affiliate deal and then here's a commission if you sell any products and that's how we'll sponsor you. And I don't feel like
that's not a sponsorship.
those work. Yeah.
Okay, so you said, that's not the kind of company that needs brand awareness, and you kind of alluded to, like, startups and new companies, they need brand awareness. I'm thinking too, one of our sponsors has been around, actually, the T-shirt they gave us when we were at SEMA, on the back, it says, like, "We've been doing this since before man was on the moon," right? So they've been doing this for, like, 70 years, and nobody's ever heard of their product because they were a behind the scenes professional, like, wholesale product, and they are consumer shifting right now. So Malco Automotive,
Mhm.
detailing shops and like dealerships and professional automotive restoration places and whatnot, they'll be like, oh, yeah, we use Milko all the time. But now they're shifting more towards that off the shelf, like purchase it at an auto parts store kind of consumer. And they're shifting from being a professional product to the brand that professionals use, but it's available to a consumer. So they're looking for brand awareness right now, not because they're new, but because they're new to a new target audience. And I think that that's a really interesting way to think about that too, is like the product and the audience, are those two connected yet? And if they're not, then yes, pitch brand awareness, couple it with some activations, some giveaways, some lead generation, right? Until you can build what I tend to call brand trust, right? Somebody has heard of the product, they've tried the product, heard of it is brand awareness, have tried it is brand activation, want to buy it again is brand trust. So how do we move people through those? And I'm just thinking about it that way, with that Malco right now, people haven't even heard about it, let alone tried it. There's no way they're gonna go out and buy it.
Mhm. Yeah, well, so I have never heard of Malco until this year because I saw you guys promote it, and then I also saw 4x4 Barbie, which is Pleasant, who I race with side by sides. Yeah, so I see she does some social media posts for them too. But yeah, honestly, I had not heard of them before
Mhm.
this year. So yeah, makes sense.
Their stuff is so good, so it's kind of a shame nobody's heard of it. Okay,
Yeah.
this is so unrelated, but their glass cleaner, I use it literally on everything, and the best application that I've found for it, it works really well on glass, we just don't have glass in off-road, right?
Yeah.
But Chris's helmet last year, like coming out of Crandon, had been sitting in his bag with Crandon mud caked on it for like 4 months. And I pulled it out before we went to our first test day in April. So maybe it was more than 4 months. It was probably like almost 6 months. And, I pulled out his helmet. I sprayed that glass cleaner on there, let it sit for like half a minute, and just wiped the mud off. And I was like, I think I found a new use for Malco's glass cleaner.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, so I am like, I would not put away a dirty helmet. Like, Adam is like that. He doesn't even let it, like, air out. Like, as soon as he's done with the race, he just puts it in the bag, and then we've got a gear bag that all of our stuff goes into, and I'm like,
Yes.
"That like, I don't know, that's just gross." But so I would let it clean I would clean all my stuff first, but I think that's kind of maybe more the drag racer in me is where, like,
Probably.
everything is clean, and especially with my dad, like, he hates if, like, a crew guy puts away a tool that's still got a little bit of oil or grease on it, like, so we always
Yes.
he is a stickler for, like, having everything clean before you put it away. Yeah, so it's funny to kinda see how our worlds are different, and, like, Adam's a dirt guy, so he
Yeah.
doesn't care,
How are
but
you
yeah,
going to survive off-road, Megan?
oh my gosh. Dude, like, at Wheatland, like, it's such a good track, but they overwater it every race, and, like, the first race they didn't, so I didn't have to worry about tear-offs or anything, but the second race, they just completely overwatered it, and Adam was running vet class, and vet was the very first class to go out, and, like, literally no one could even go full throttle because they were just sliding all over the place, and they're just, like, coasting, just trying to stay, like, on the track and not slide out, and so Adam's like, "Well, this is not fun." He's like, "I'm never gonna do vet class again if it's the first class and they water the track like this." But yeah, so then I had to learn how to use tear-offs, and that
Yeah.
was something completely new to me, and, yeah, trial by error because I kinda learned I think what had happened, like, I went through all of them, so we did it this is also when we started doing comp cautions,
Yeah.
and I had used them all up by the time we got to the comp caution, but we still had 2 laps left, and then that's where I messed up because I was like, "Oh, shoot!" Because then we all bunched back up, so as soon as the people leave in front of me, I'm just getting sprayed, and so then I learned I don't remember who it was, someone on Instagram said, "Put a towel in your sleeve."
Yeah,
So I
or
was like,
under your
"Okay."
leg. Yep.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. Thankfully, I haven't needed it though, because I've put extra amount of tear offs on. Because like when I tore them off, like I had it to where it folded over,
Yeah.
but they still like stuck together
Ugh,
when I tore one, so it was like tearing 3 off at a time.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't yeah, just stuff I've gotta learn.
No, okay, I've never used a tear off in a race before. I've never needed one. The
Yeah.
beetles don't throw
Yeah.
enough roost. And
Yeah.
I remember, this year I went into Crandon and I still had all the tear offs from last year at Crandon, and I was like,
Yeah.
"I don't think I really need to put more on." And so I was going through I don't remember. Oh, I was about to finish on Friday night and I was like, "I think I should just pull a tear off." Like, I'm just gonna pull one just for funsies.
Yeah. Did it make a difference?
Not really. No, there was
No.
a little bit of dust on there, which had built up over 2 years, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I need to make sure we stock up on is
yes.
tear-offs. Because yeah, we almost ran out at our second to last race, and then I was like, "Oh, shoot." Like, we didn't have like, thankfully, we had just enough to finish that race, but it's like, "Oh, we've got another
Yes.
race this year. I need to order some more."
And you wanna run sportsman side by side because that's the first class to go out, and they're always overwatered too,
Oh,
so
man, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, after talking to the guys at PRI show when we had our little after party, they're like, "No, like, you need to stick in sportsman." And I'm just like, I get it because I'm still so new, but I don't know, I mean, I'm a little confident in myself, and
yeah.
also with Wheatland being the first race, like, I know Wheatland pretty good now because 'cause I've done 5 races there,
Yeah.
and so I feel like I could do okay at
Yeah.
Wheatland if I did step up. But then, okay, is there a rule where if you do so if I did step up to was it Pro-Am,
Yeah.
can I not go back to Sportsman after that?
I
Because it's technically a pro class?
Pro-Am is a sportsman class, yeah.
It is a sportsman class? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the rule is for stepping back, I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but that being said, like, I think the real question here is what is your measure for success? Is success winning
Right.
races or is success funding your program? Because I will tell you that you have enough backing behind you that if you step into a sportsman class, you're going to diminish your value, and I
Mm,
think that that is something big to consider because you are not gonna have the same, like, oomph coming into champ as a sportsman side by side as you will coming into, like, pro stock. You're gonna be able to market yourself a lot better in pro stock.
Yeah. See, I think so too. Well, and also, I'm not gonna be doing all the champ races next year, so, for sure doing Wheatland, but then we haven't decided on the other ones just because 'cause they're so far away for us.
Yeah.
So, we're also kinda seeing yeah, like, we're gonna use Wheatland as, like, the test,
Yeah.
see how it goes, and, yeah, like, if sponsors are happy, then, we'll kinda make it more of a serious commitment, but at the same time, I don't want short course to turn into a job like how
Yeah.
drag racing did for me and
Sure.
to where then I did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little hesitant in that, but also, like you and Chris are always just like, "No, just go for it,
Just
like,
do it.
just do the whole thing," and I'm like, "I could." I feel like I could, but I'm also, like, I'm holding myself back a little bit because like, Adam and I, like, we were kinda going over, okay, what's, like, our 5-year goal? And because like, we're coming up on the end of the year, and it's like, okay, like, I'm making some career changes, some lifestyle changes, and so, like, for me personally, I'm kinda reevaluating everything right now, and, like, the entire brand, like, what's the future of Megan Meyer Racing? Like, is it going to be a mix of drag and off-road, or am I just gonna go in one direction? And then, like, the educational side of it and coaching side. So I'm trying to figure this all out, which is why I've taken a break from social media because it's just like there's too much
Yeah.
right now to kind of evaluate. And I want to make sure I figure out the direction I'm going to go with this before I do start showing up online again. But
Yeah.
also, it's been nice to take a break and not have to have that pressure. Also, I've been kind of off topic though. I've been doing a lot more reels with Randy Meyer Racing, which is
Yeah.
my dad's drag racing team, and all of the content we've been posting is from John. So shout out to
J-Will.
JW because he came to 6 or 7 races with us this year, and he got ton of content. So now we're just using everything that he's got. I've reposted a few things, and I guess I just wanna, like, spill the tea, the secret that I've kind of figured out that's worked for us because it's doing really well this month, and, so I'm gonna keep testing it in January to see how it goes, but
Yeah.
I've always been against cross-posting, and, like, everything I've taught for years has been, "Do not cross-post," because that's what I was taught, but the platforms have changed so much now, and what I've noticed is so John will edit the video, which sometimes it's just one clip, right? Like, it's really not edited, but he'll send me the file. I will upload it to Edits app, and I will add like, text on screen, and then, or maybe the captions if it's a talking video, and then, so that's really all I'll do as far as, like, editing it,
Yeah.
and then I upload it to Instagram, and then I have it to cross post to our Facebook page,
Yes.
and I try to do it middle of the day. So for us, Instagram, like, according to the Meta, like, best time to post, Instagram has always been morning to early afternoon and then evening time on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been like, okay, what's like middle between those 2 of when I could post to kind of still reach like the best time? So I'll do it in the afternoon. And what I've noticed is because it's also posting it to Facebook, it pulls the views and the comments it gets from Facebook onto Instagram,
Mhm.
which has helped us because then on Instagram, like our last video, I think it's already at like 14,000 views and it's been almost 24 hours now. But 12,000 views of that came from our Facebook page, which Facebook has always been stronger for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I'm still testing it to kind of be like, okay, like, is this really improving the value of our Instagram content by showing it's gotten more views? And also with Instagram, we were getting a ton more reposts and shares, which is
Yeah.
awesome too. So I don't know, a little off topic.
Yeah, no, but I've noticed the same thing,
Okay,
and
cool.
I think that because Meta is, like, so combined, I feel like if it's doing well on one platform, it'll push it more on the other platform even if it hasn't started performing there yet because it can see both directions now.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that might be part of it too, but I will say I couldn't post one of them, like, I couldn't get it to cross post from edits, and doing it in edits makes a big difference
Yeah.
because that's also a Meta-owned platform, like, they're
Yeah.
encouraging that. They've admitted that editing in edits, even if it's just throwing some trending audio or something, does affect the way that it's distributed. But, the candle one that we just did for VDE
That
racing,
was such a good one. I love that. Was that your idea or Chris's idea?
that one was my idea, yeah.
Chris is such a good actor.
I told him in the morning, I was like, "Hey, it's like 8:30 in the morning." He had a haircut at like noon and he had to leave like 45 minutes before that to get to his haircut appointment, right? And I told him in the morning, I was like, "I'm ready to record whenever you are. Just let me know when you're ready." And he walks up at 11 o'clock and he has to leave at 11:15. He goes, "Can we record now?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Okay, like we got to go really fast. There's no time for retakes here." But
Yeah.
yeah, so that video, because of the way that I had to clip it to bleep out when he said the word shit, I had to like clip the background audio too. And
Mm,
it counted it
okay.
as like two different songs in there, even though it was the same song, just like clipped for continuity's
Okay.
sake. Right. So I couldn't share it from Instagram to Facebook for that reason. I don't know why, but I couldn't. And so I had to share it to Instagram and then to Facebook separately. So they're not linked, but it's the same exact thing. Both of them shared from the exact same project in edits. And that one actually performed really well on both platforms too. So I don't know if
Mhm.
it's like because they're linked or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that's something that I don't know when, like, the linking where, like, you could see the performance,
Hmm.
like, from Facebook on Inst I don't know when that started, but yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like that has helped, and that's something that I think maybe was new for this year? Yeah, I don't know when it came out, but that's where, like, cross-posting in the past, I feel like it kinda hurt you because if someone sees it on Facebook and they jump over to Instagram, they see the exact same thing at the same time, well, they already liked it on one platform, they might not like it or engage with it on the other, so that's why I was always against cross-posting,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I'm experimenting,
Yeah.
seeing what happens because I kinda gave up on Instagram, it's does not do well for us. Like, videos where we used to get at least 1,000 likes, now, like, we struggle to get 100 likes, and so it's like, I don't know. So I was, like, about to just completely give up on it, and then I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna cross post, so then I don't even have to worry about it." And then it's like, "Oh, shoot, like, this is actually taken off." Like, it had been there were some videos where I hadn't even logged into Instagram in, like, a day or 2,
Yeah.
and then, like, I logged back and I'm like, "Oh, shoot, like, this one's got, like, 40,000 views, like, holy cow." So anyways, back to what we were talking about.
I
Got a
was going to
little
say,
off track there.
but I think we
Um,
could circle that right back though,
okay. Yeah.
because you are talking about like all these views on social media, which is just another form of exposure.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And you're talking about, well, we typically have better performance on Facebook than Instagram. I can tell you the opposite is true for our stuff. And I think that that has a lot to do with knowing your target audience, right? Because
Mhm.
oftentimes Facebook skews a little bit older than Instagram does.
Mhm.
Oftentimes drag racing skews a little bit older than off road does. So it's no surprise that those two platforms are showing that kind of consumption rate.
Yeah.
But, what does it mean when you put a post out there for a sponsor and you get those views? Does that translate to value for them?
Well, I guess this is where we can plug in Autofluencer
Yeah.
because that is where we can actually see a dollar amount value. So Autofluencer uses a formula that is based on engagement and then also the views per
Mhm.
1,000. So if you get 100 views, it's not gonna be worth very much, but if you have 100 of thousands of views, then it's actually where your dollar amount shows up. But so what it does is it takes the formula of what it would cost for a brand to turn a post into an ad. So, like, to boost a post, that is the value that we are delivering for our sponsors. So,
Mhm.
I like to use Autofluencer once a month for our main sponsors, and then for our, like, product only or small funding sponsors, I just do it once a quarter because we are not obligated to do as much promotion on social media for them.
Right.
But it's still really cool to log into it once a month and, like, okay, so for December, like, for Gunk, because Gunk is our biggest sponsor that we have, so to see, like, oh, hey, like, we did reach our goal of the dollar amount that we had set as our goal, and it's not,
Mhm.
like, Gunk does not set the KPIs or the goals that we're trying to reach. It's just my personal goal just to
Yeah.
kind of be like, "Hey, like, we were on the mark this month," or, "Hey, we fell a little short. I didn't post as much about Gunk, so then I know in the next month I need to do a little bit extra." But yeah, so I love to use Autofluencer to see the value of that. It
Yeah.
makes it so easy. You just log in and you look at the numbers and it's like, "Okay."
And I think that's one thing that, like, a lot of racers don't know about marketing is that there are these KPIs or key performance indicators, right? And there are standard indicators that marketing professionals across any industry, any company will use, and you can go to them. What you're talking about is earned media value or EMV. And you can go to a potential partner and say, "Hey, my earned media value is X number of dollars." And they'll know what you're talking about. And that's going to be an immediate like indicator that you know your own value and you also know what kind of a return you can provide to them.
So I actually just did that after PRI. I had reached out to a company. I sent them a 30-day report from Autofluencer, and it showed my average earned media value was $580. So for every post, it's worth that much. And so then I can use that as the legit baseline, and it's not like I just made up this number, so they can see the actual data, and because I'm pitching to them to pay me to do a post on social media for their product, and so it's going to be worth $580 to sponsor this post. So we'll see. Haven't heard back yet, but putting it out into the universe.
Yes.
Hopefully it comes through because this is a product that, like, we're really interested and we wanna use it, and it's like, hey, I'm shooting my shot, so we'll see what happens.
And you know exactly what to ask for because of that too. Like I that is probably the number one question that I get asked by other motorsports athletes, especially as they're new in their journey, is how do I know what to charge?
Mhm.
And earned media value will give you literally what that company would pay in order to have that post put out there.
Yeah,
So there it
exactly.
is.
Makes it easy. So, yeah.
Yes,
So, yeah, hopefully it works.
I hope it does. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
I will tack on earned media value is great and that exposure is valuable to the right companies, right? Because we already talked about like brand awareness and exposure isn't valuable to every company. It's also not valuable if the brand alignment isn't there between you and
Mm,
a company because you can pay to have your brand, your content in front of as many eyes as you want to, right? A company can endlessly pump good money at a bad audience.
yeah.
And if you're partnering with a company, but your product and your audience don't match, like if I'm trying to sell what if my audience is not this. What if my primary audience was just mothers of young children, right? Like what if I had this channel and my whole content, all of my content was geared towards mothers of young children. We talk about I don't know, like nursing and the best way to raise kids. And I am pulling this out of my butt because this is so
Do
far
you need some
outside of my
advice?
brand. Yeah, help. But then I turn around and I'm starting to push like a tequila brand or something,
Yeah.
right? Like something that these people are not gonna buy because they're nursing infants and that doesn't like it's
Mhm.
not something they're gonna consume, right? That tequila brand could pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I could put all of the content out in the world, but my following is not going to buy it, then it's not
Mhm.
gonna provide that value back to that partner. So, as
Mhm.
you're partnering with brands, think about, like, who are the people that are following me? What is congruent with my brand? Because the person that I put myself out to be on the internet is probably pretty close to the people that are following me. So if you're your own authentic self and you've built a really intentional, strong brand, and you find a partner whose brand aligns with that really well, your content and your value to them is going to be worth a lot more because of the brand alignment, not just because of the exposure that you're giving them and that
Mhm.
brand awareness.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, and that ties into is it episode 3 where we talked about, yeah, your personal
Think so.
branding, so we can include that in the show notes so people can go and listen to that because yeah, we go into depth on the alignment and how it's so important to understand your audience because yeah, exactly like what you said. If it doesn't align, then there is no value there for you.
No.
So this company that I'm reaching out to, like, yeah, I had to do some research and make sure that it would actually align with my audience
Yeah.
before just go and pitch to Joe Schmo and anybody out there. Like, yeah,
Yes.
you need to make sure that your customers or your audience will become their customers because that's the whole point.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely agree. And that's really important to understand your audience to even know what to look for. Like, we put out a proposal for a company, and their number one issue that they talk to us about is that their current buyers are aging out, right? They're
Mm.
really popular with older consumers that are not working on their cars as much. They're not consuming their product as much. But the younger generations, they don't know the brand as well. They've heard the name. They don't need that brand exposure or awareness, but they really need the activation and they need the brand trust. So, we know our audience because we've collected data on it. And I was able to say 77% of our audience specifically is under the age of 45, and over half of our audience is under the age of 35. So I get to turn around and say, hey, look, our audience aligns really well with that. And we have a proven track record of going out there and activating at the track, activating really well in our social media, and then 80% of our people that follow us are more likely to buy a product that we're saying is good. Like having that data, knowing your audience gives you the opportunity to turn around and know what to pitch to those companies as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, it makes it so much like, it's a lot of work up front. And this is where racers either don't know how to do it or they just don't want to do it
Mhm.
because they feel like they don't need it and they don't see the value of it. But once you have those data points, it does make it so much easier to just pick and pull exactly what you need. And then you don't need a huge deck presentation. Like you could just do a one pager basically and be like,
Yeah.
here's the facts, here's the cold hard data why
Yes.
we would be, the perfect fit for your brand. And it makes it so much easier. And you don't have to try to be a salesman because it's right there.
Yeah, it's an obvious choice.
Yeah.
So, I've obviously made a career shift this year. I left my corporate role and I've launched my own consultancy, and part of that is public speaking. And I went to this class this year. It was an online one through the National Speakers Association of Wisconsin. And one of the things that they talked about was it should be easy enough to say yes to that it's like a Girl Scout cookie. If somebody says, do you want to buy Girl Scout cookies? You know if you're going to say yes or no because you know so much about that already that it's an easy yes, I would like to buy Girl Scout cookies, or no, I would not like to buy Girl Scout cookies, right? So if you're going to a sponsor with a proposal or even just like introducing yourself and wanting to be known well enough that they can make that decision, you need to give them enough information for it to be like buying Girl Scout cookies, right? And so if I go up there and I say, well, I know that you're trying to sell to younger people. This is my demographic. This is why I think it's a good fit. Do you want to buy my Girl Scout cookies? and they either say yes or no, then it's that easy, right?
Mhm,
And you should always make it that easy for a partner to be able to say yes to you.
mhm. Yeah, and sometimes it is that easy, right? Like, it doesn't I mean, it does take a while to build up a relationship, to get to know people, who's the correct point of contact at a company, but once you do that, which to me, I feel like that's harder to get to know the person
Mhm.
and get through a gatekeeper. And also for me, like, I am not good at small talk and, like,
Yeah.
trying to get to know people. Like, I'm
Same.
very, like, yeah, awkward with that. So to me, that is the hardest part. But then once you're in, then I feel like it gets easy, and it could be just a simple yes, no, here's the data, here's the facts, here's my audience. You want to do a deal or not?
I think one of the things that resonates from our last episode when we had Dave on, and he said, just ask. Like, if you've got an
Yeah,
idea, just bring it forward. And he
yeah,
was talking about working with Chris, and he said, Chris just texts me out of the blue and says, I got this idea. Do you want to try this? And I'll either say yes or no. But every single one of those times that he's like, hey, I wonder if we should do this. Or like, hey, have you considered what if we did this video? What if we brought these tires to this place? What if I brought my truck to this thing? And every
yeah.
time he is asking one of those questions, it's the same question, right? It's, do you want to buy Girl Scout cookies? Because each of those things has a price tag on it. And every time he's asking that, he's doing an informal pitch for a different paycheck.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and just the creativity with it because, like, activations don't have to be, the same thing. It doesn't have to be, like, lead generation or a contest, like, you can do anything outside of the box,
Yeah.
and I know, like, sometimes, like, for us, like, we're limited by the series, unfortunately, what we
Yeah.
can do with activations, which really sucks, but that's where we do stuff outside of the track, so we'll go to a grocery store and have our car on display,
Hmm.
or an open house event or a car show or something like that. So we can still activate outside of the racetrack. But yeah, just trying to get creative with that is the key to yeah, like the long-term sponsorships.
Yes, I think of, Josh Skeideman, our friend who races in side by side and champ, right? He partners with Carbless, and it's reasonably like entry level partnership. And I think it was last year they had an event at this tiny little liquor shop in Pulaski, Wisconsin, which is not a big place, right? And they just set the car out front and put kids in it, and they ran ads saying they were going to be there, and they sold out of carbless. They literally had to bring in another
Good.
truck with, I think he said it was, I
Awesome.
could be making this number up, but I think he said it was like 40,000 cases of carbless they went through.
Wow.
Like, that is the easiest probably payday that that liquor store has ever had in their
Yeah.
life, right? That was a huge movement of carbless products. That's brand activation because people are trying the products. And then it's the brand trust. They're going in the store and they're purchasing it after they try it. Like, moving
Mhm.
people down that funnel doesn't have to be hard. And it's not even, I don't want to diss Josh, but that's not that creative, right? It's just bringing your car to a local business and selling product. And you're not the one selling it. You're just activating it?
Yeah. That's what makes sponsorship fun, right?
Mhm.
Like, how can we not worry about putting a logo on the car? And like one thing I hate, and I see this like with NASCAR drivers, they have 50 different logos right here because they
Yes.
want the exposure, the TV time, and it's just like I hate that because it diminishes the value of each one the more that you have instead of like just
Yeah.
one big one on your shirt, right?
Yeah.
So how can we get away from just putting logos on the car? You got your big one and then the small ones. But yeah, how can we turn it into creative activations, doing stuff outside of the track and being in charge of the value and not having to worry about what the series will or will not let you do or the broadcast and TV time because you have no
Yeah.
control over how much, are you going to get 15 seconds or a minute, 15 seconds? Like, you have no idea how much TV time you're going to actually get.
Yes.
And like for us, like like in drag racing, like our race doesn't even air till a week later. And it's usually between 9 o'clock at night and 3 o'clock in the morning. And like no one watches it. Like,
And they're
Like,
watching
we
Home Shopping Network at that time, right?
Yeah. So, like, honestly, like, for our sponsors, we don't even include that in, like, our proposals. Like, that's just an added bonus, like, if we get TV time or if we get an article in the magazine, because we have no control over that. But your social media, your activations, your displays, all that stuff is what you can have control over, and that's where you can increase your value.
Yes.
And I think, yeah, like, racers just kinda need to get out of that mindset and, like, really think
Yeah.
outside the box.
Okay, I love, love, love just how much you focused on what do you have control over, because I think oftentimes I hear a lot of people talking a lot of shit about the things they can't control.
Mm,
And, like, first off, when you are publicly talking poorly about your series, about your sport, about, like, even your competitors, you are diminishing the value of everything that you do, because a sponsor does not wanna be associated with, A, somebody who goes online and talks shit, and
mhm,
B, a sport or a class or a series that they don't see value in because it's volatile, because volatility creates risk and businesses are risk averse. They do not want to put money where there is risk. So if you're going out there and saying, well, this is never going to work this way, well, guess what? Now you're just taking money out of that sport, right?
mhm.
So you
Yeah.
don't have the ability to control it. Don't go out there and talk about it poorly because you're taking money away from it. Instead, focus on the things like you talked about, the things you can control. Take your sphere of influence, right? And think about, like, okay, if I can't do something here, where can I do it? Or if I can't make that impact with the series or with the class or with my competitors, like, where can I do this instead? And that kind of
Mhm.
creativity is what brings money into sports and series that otherwise are very difficult to get money into.
Yeah. Well, and I think, okay, so kinda to circle back to me, like, coming into off-road and champ, like, I've only been to 2 champ races, right? So I can't I speak, outside of those experiences, but I've went to, like, 2 of the biggest ones, right? So
Yeah.
the other ones I've heard that it's hard to draw in a big crowd, especially because 'cause they're locally close together and stuff like that. And so I've heard from other people in the sport how they're kinda talking shit on the series and stuff because you're not able to draw in as big of a crowd, or this is why you need to go to different places and reach different audiences and all that stuff. Which I get that from a racer standpoint, but when you think of it from a brand who hears that, then they're kind of like might be a little hesitant of like, "Oh, well, maybe, the value is not there because maybe there's not as many spectators," or whatever a limiting factor would be. And so for me, like, coming into off-road, I don't want to come into it with a traditional mindset based on like attendance rate and viewership and all that. Like, I just want
Yeah.
to, yeah, whatever I can have my control over. So, like, for me, it's always the first one is social media just because it's the easiest one to do, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a plan for next year of, like, I've been, like, kinda documenting how we're getting into this. I've done a poor job of, like, everything we've done, and a lot of it is because my husband does not wanna be on camera. Like, I'm trying to convince him that he needs to show up more, and so it's not just all about me because we are doing this as a family, like, that is our goal.
Yes.
And it's not just Megan Meyer Racing, right? And so but also, like, he's done a lot of stuff where, like, I just haven't been in the shop or in the garage to be able to, like, physically document it, but my goal is next year is I want to show more of how we're doing this transition, how we're doing it as a family, but then also what other lifestyle stuff are we doing with it? Because, like, with the side
Yeah.
by side, like, yes, the one I have is a race car, but we have other ones that we can go to the dunes with, or,
Yeah.
that we're going to make trails at the farm with. And so I want to document the lifestyle part of it
Mhm.
and do more of that. So that way that could be a value add to our sponsors. And just have the racing part kind of be a bonus to it, but I don't want it to be the main driver of our sponsorships. if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes, 100%. And that's well within your sphere of control. You're taking command of your target audience, right? Because you're starting to say, I want to attract an audience that aligns with my family values, that has an adventurous spirit, right? That aligns with going to the dunes for the weekend and trail riding and all of these outdoor adventures, right? So now you get to turn around and say, hey, brands, guess what my target audience likes to do? I bet they're also into camping and they've got RVs and they've got, four-wheelers and they're buying fishing products and hunting stuff, and that is so much value that does not rely at all on the racetrack at all.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, I'll share. I'm not gonna fake stuff or hide stuff. If it doesn't work, then I'll share here on the podcast. But, yeah, just being real.
Yes, yes, as long as you can get Adam to show up on the camera.
Yes, we need to do a husbands episode.
Yes, yes, I would love that. That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be our next guest. We can talk our
Ooh,
hubbies into coming
okay.
on.
And then we should come up with, like, some trivia questions and be like, "How well do you know your wife?"
Oh,
Like
no. There is
put them
going
in
to
the hot
be
seat.
there is going to be shit slung from my husband, I guarantee it.
Oh my gosh, that would be
Actually,
so funny.
this doesn't sound like a good idea anymore. I'm getting uncomfy. Yes, no, we totally should do that. That would be funny. I
Yeah.
have a feeling we're gonna be laughing at my expense, but I'm here for it, I
Oh,
guess.
same, same. No, but you and Chris are seriously the cutest couple ever. Like, you guys are just 2 peas in a pod. Like, you were just made for each other.
I'm not even gonna dispute that because he's my bestie, so
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. You guys are so cute. I loved hanging out with you at PRI.
Man, that was so much fun. We had
Yeah.
such a blast. Like, I was looking
Yeah.
back, I didn't take a lot of pictures or video. So, of course,
No, me neither.
I come back and I'm trying to do social media posts. And I'm like putting like reels with like overlays. And I'm like, I have like two videos that I took. And one of them is you and me and Chris and Erica sitting by the fireplace waiting for our
Oh,
lunch
yeah.
table to be ready. And we're just such goons, I think, like, I don't know, like, Chris is, like, pulling stuff out of a backpack. I think you're, like, eating candy or something, like, I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know about this one. But I
Yeah.
had so much fun. I feel like we actually
Yeah.
got to hang out, like, as people, not just as, like,
Mhm.
these business people that we have to be so often.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, and it's hard, like, at the track to really hang out too because then, like, if something breaks, you gotta spend all night trying to
Yeah.
fix it, and I don't wanna, take away from that and stuff, so
Yes.
yeah, it's
And
fun to just hang out.
I'm sure it's the same for you as it is for us at the track. Like, it's such a lean team that we need all hands on deck just to keep
Mhm.
stuff going. Like, I don't just get to sit back and go, wow, our team is doing so well. No, I'm out there like putting temporary tattoos on kids and selling t
Yeah,
shirts and, doing parts runs.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Chris got to come hang out with us at Vegas, which unfortunately we had lost first round the day before. Both cars lost first round. So Chris did not get to see us actually race. But I took him up to the starting line to watch the other cars go down the track in our class and his dad. And so that was really cool just to kind of get them in the perfect
Yeah.
spot, get the nitro in their nostrils and all that.
They were talking about that at Christmas. They were, like,
Yeah.
talking it up to, Chris's uncle Jim. He really loves racing too.
Oh,
You'll
cool.
probably meet him at a track here or there. They're always around. But they were talking it up. They were like, "You've never been on the starting line for these NHRA polls," because they're like, "You could feel it in your chest and your eyes get all weird," and they were
Yeah.
so excited. Both Dave and Chris were just, like, so excited to tell people about that.
Awesome. Well, good. Yeah, we can get some more of you guys out. I guess, yeah, Brainerd would be the best one
We
to go
really wanna
to.
go this year.
Yeah.
We've been trying to go the last couple years, but it's so close to Bark River that sometimes it's
Yeah.
difficult because that's, like, a really tight turnaround for us. Because
Yeah.
it's right before Bark River, right?
I
I
don't know.
think.
When is Bark River?
Yeah, August 10th-ish.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Cause yeah, I think it's 2 weeks before Labor Day weekend,
Well, then maybe it's right after.
Brainerd.
Maybe it's right after Bark River then. I don't remember, but it ends up being just, like, in the midst of race season, but we really, really wanna go this year, like, we're trying
Yeah.
really hard to make that happen.
Yeah. Well, okay, if you go, then I'll make sure I go because we still don't know our drag racing schedule yet for next year.
Yeah.
'Cause it changed a lot, but Brainerd is still on there. We did lose the Brainerd regionals that we did,
Okay.
so we'll just be there for the national event, which the national is better for spectators because you have the top fuel cars, you got all the fan experiences, the vendors are there, then the zoo is
Yeah.
there as well, which Crandon was like a Brainerd Zoo, I feel like, so that was really cool, but we did not participate because we had our 3-year-old with us.
I'm so excited to see the zoo because I've been to Brainerd one time, and that's when we filmed our Dirt and
Yeah,
Smoke video,
that
and
was cool.
literally, like, we pulled in with our RV, and we were the only people, and we had full run of the entire facility, so I know
Yeah.
where the zoo is, but it was nothing, like, there was nothing
It's not
there.
yeah, it's just a campground.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so I'm so excited to actually see it live, and it was like
Mhm.
walking a ghost town, and you could kinda, like, feel the energy of the Nationals past, but that's all I got.
Yeah. Well, are you planning on doing anything like that again this year? Or wait, you don't have a truck. Well, you got the
We've
two-seater.
got the promotional truck, yeah,
Yeah.
so we're not doing anything right now. We've got some cool talks, though. They're yeah. Well, now we know the people at Brainerd really well, so we've also got
Yeah.
some connections, obviously, with the Formula Drift folks now. We've also got maybe some talks about somebody in Ultra 4 that wants to do some cool stuff.
Alright.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think there's some stuff going on. It's probably gonna be a little while before it releases because at this point it's just ideas, but we're doing more of that
Yeah,
for
but
sure. That's
that's where it
part
starts.
Yep, that's part of the reason we built the two-seater is so we have 0 stress about ruining the race truck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. When are you gonna get the race truck?
So, we're gonna pick it up it's in California right now. We're gonna
Okay.
pick it up as a little bit more than a roller. It'll have, like, the tins on it and power steering stuff I think will be mounted on it. We're gonna hopefully pick it up the end of January, beginning of February, and then Chris needs to bring it home, and sounds like we've got a sponsor on board that wants to do some cool content stuff with part of the build. So, he needs to bring it home unfinished in order to get that kind of
Yes.
content. I think we're gonna make some sort of vacation out of it though. So we're maybe gonna take like a week to drive out and a week to drive back and find some cool stops along the way that'll accommodate a trailer behind our
Yeah.
RV. But yeah, so we still got a little bit, but it's gotta happen sooner rather than later because Chris has not had a race truck to wrench on in like over a month at this point, and he's driving me crazy. Um, so please
Yeah.
Please finish his truck quickly, Cole, please.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Well, we've got 3 side-by-sides that need work, so if he wants to come down here.
Oh, yeah, I might send
So,
him down soon because
yeah.
I love him so much, but man, get him out of the house because he's sitting here like, "I need to wrench on something," and he doesn't have anything, so
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, Randy Meyer needs someone, so
yeah, yeah,
we lost a crew guy. He was our one and only full-time crew guy. Lost
no,
him this year, which that was kind of a bad deal. And so, yeah, so we are hiring. We're especially someone that could drive the truck and trailer because my dad doesn't wanna keep doing that.
yes,
But, yeah, so, yeah, we are looking for some help. So if anyone's in Kansas City and wants to work on race cars,
and knows how to turn a
let
wrench
me
and
know.
drive a semi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My dad is very particular about what he wants because the last 3 or 4 guys we've had, they've all been younger, so they've all been new to the sport, and my dad does not have the patience to teach them, so he wants someone that already knows what to do and do it right. So
So there's the job
yes,
description, it just wrote
but we will
itself.
pay. But we will pay for the experience. It's just and a lot of drag racing team I don't okay, so I don't know if it's like this in off-road. There's a lot of turnover in drag racing teams, like, crew members will switch teams often.
Really?
Crew chiefs flip around all the time, just whoever's got the, highest paycheck.
Wow.
And especially in top fuel because they have like 2 or 3 crew chiefs per team, and they've got their assistant crew chiefs and all this stuff, so they flop around a lot. But there's actually like, I don't know if they call it, like, silly season in off-road, but, like, they call it that in drag racing because there's, like, all these silly rumors, but they end up being true of, like, who's going to what team, which drivers are switching teams, and all this
Mhm.
stuff. So there's actually quite a few drivers that are switching teams. There's quite a few new teams popping up, but they can't find the crew guys to actually get the team. So, like, they've got the
Oh,
sponsors, they've got the driver, but they don't have the actual manpower to run a team. And so that's, like, the biggest issue that, like, drag racing is running into right now. And so it's trickled down to us as well. But yeah, it's there's a lot changing in drag racing,
that
and
is
it's
wild.
yeah,
That is,
so
like, the complete opposite of off-road. I feel like people live and die on the same team.
yeah.
We pay people with food, wristbands, and cupcakes, and, like,
And
"Please stick
champagne.
around." Yeah, champagne and yeah, yes, and we're like, "Please don't leave because we can't actually afford to pay somebody."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but we've got I mean, this year, we've got because Chris's dad sold his pro buggy, and we're not sure what he's gonna race. He's gonna race something next year, but probably on, like, a part-time basis, so, like,
Yeah.
we have more crew than we need this year, and so we sold the pro buggy to our friend Ryan Mottinger. I don't know if you've met Ryan before.
No, I saw his because he did, like, a interview at Nexon at SEMA,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I saw that.
Yes. Yep, so he bought our car, and he was like, "Well, my one concern with running a pro class is I don't have somebody to help me with it." And we're like, "Well, guess what? We've got more crew than we need." So one of our crew guys is gonna help him this year because he's a great
Mhm.
guy. He knows the car already, and, like,
Yeah.
we don't really need that much help. So it's the opposite
Yeah.
problem. We're having the opposite problem, although we still do need to figure out how the heck we're getting our trailer to races. Because last year, we partnered with a company that gave us a semi to use, and then Robert, Chris's spotter, he drove it to each of the races because he has his CDL. And so we're like, well, maybe we'll get Chris his CDL so that we don't have to rely on somebody else. And then I'll just drive the RV and Chris will drive the semi places. But now we're not sure if the company that was loaning us the semi is going to have that one as a spare this year. So they might not be
Mm.
able to give us that opportunity. So hopefully we can figure that out. But yeah, we need
Yeah.
we need a truck and a driver for our side.
Yeah. There's so much that goes into racing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people don't even realize.
Yeah.
I just looked at how long we've been recording. We are we are chatty today, Megan.
Yeah. It's a good one.
It is a good one.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, most of it was not the topic that we came into talking about it, but I think people will follow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it for a few minutes.
Yeah, there's at least like 4 to 7 minutes of true content in this
Yeah.
podcast, so
There we go.
we should probably sign off though.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So next episode we will have a guest. So that'll be exciting. But yeah. So I guess for those that are still listening with us, thank you for listening to the Racer on Demand show with your hosts, Megan and Amanda. Wishing everybody a great New Year's. By the time this will be out, New Year's will happen, but for the live, which there's no audience,
Yeah,
but
just you
for
and I
us,
guess.
just us, yeah, Happy New Year's to you.
Likewise, Megan.
Yeah. So yeah, really excited for 2026. I feel like for both of us, there's a lot of new and exciting stuff happening. And yeah, just excited to see what unfolds next year.
All right, everybody. If you are still listening, please don't forget to like, subscribe, make sure you're getting notifications for when we do post this every other Thursday. We'll be back in 2 more weeks with our special guest. But until
Mhm.
then, we love you. Bye.
Bye.